You fell in chapter 120. Let's see, over 100 chapters later, where you now stand, 7-3 Sorcerer. What's up, guys? Alphonse here, and here we are to do a breakdown and discussion on whether or not Nanami Kento is a top 25 character within the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I know you may be wondering, man, so this seems awfully random, but if you know the anime has just recently dropped the episode that's all about Nanami, all about glazing Nanami, and as a old-fashioned Nanami glazer myself, I'm here to try and hype Nanami up the best I can, because he can't be hyped up too much. I can't argue top 5, or top 10, or top 15, or top 20, or I might be able to argue top 25. But let's not waste any more time, and let us hop right into it. What's up, you guys? Alphonse here. Fun fact, I have it on me. I keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, Nanami Kento has it on him. And he kept it on at all times. In fact, he kept it on him so well that he had it in him. He had it on him to the very end. Let's just say that. The most recent appearance of him, he didn't have it on him, but considering that's literally like an astral body, I can't blame him for not having it on him. But Nanami Kento, he is, according to Nobara Kurosaki, the epitome of a grade 1 sorcerer. But within the grand scheme of the massive, sprawling world that is Jujutsu Kaisen, the real question is, after over 100 chapters, 118 chapters of him simply not being alive, his scaling ending, boom, right there, is he still at all relevant? Is top 25 even a feasible thing for him anymore, or has he been lost in the darkness with many other characters who fell so soon? That's a good question, and it's a question I'm here to answer. Now, luckily enough, Nanami's scaling is actually, like, relatively simple. Because it's not that good. Okay. I say it's not that good relative to, like, later series characters. Or not later series, but later in the series characters. Like, obviously no one's out here arguing Nanami is a special grade sorcerer. Because he's literally not. Like, he's the epitome of a grade 1. But can I truly and honestly name 25 characters that scale above Nanami? Well, let's see. Nanami's peak scaling, his best, most saucy stuff, puts him relative to, if not slightly beneath, fresh out the box Mahito. And, like, relative a bit in striking force to start of Shibuya Yuji. That's about it. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not horrible scaling. It's not bad scaling at all. With that level of striking force, presumably using his curse technique, based on what Ino says, if Nanami were to hit somebody and bounce right off with the 7-3 technique, he would be able to do relatively decent damage. Like, this is the same Yuji, if not a stronger Yuji, than the one that was back in Goodwill, being able to damage Hanami with just regular hits. And that's it's not that bad, you know? Honestly, it seems kind of neat. Like, Nanami may just be like that. But other than that, his speed scaling doesn't really exist. He's above Haruta, who was, like, relative to Nobara. But, like, Nobara, no offense to her, kinda, in retrospect, she was kind of far. But regardless, that kind of scaling leaves a lot of room. And I mean a lot of room for characters to be stronger than him. Especially considering the 7-3 technique is a critical hit. But we've seen that if you are simply bulky enough, if you have enough HP, if you simply have the raw cursed girth, the critical hit of the 7-3 technique doesn't necessarily matter all too much. Like, at all. And the thing about the 7-3 technique is, unlike some other techniques where they can, like, kind of AoE affect an area, or are really, really big, or have, like, some special condition behind them that make them easier to land, even if your speed is lower, the 7-3 technique relies on Nanami. Boop! Boop! Well, he has to hit you. And he has to hit you with a weapon that's probably smaller than this Gladius. Is this a Gladius? I don't remember. But regardless, he has a very narrow range of attack. And his stats aren't the best, considering Mahito pretty much gets drastically stronger in between every single appearance. And Yuji also gets pretty strong after he's compared to Nanami at the start of Shibuya. So remember, Nanami isn't relative to 120% off a Black Flash or a couple Yuji. No, he's relative to like start. I'm still happy with my life, Shibuya Yuji. That's the kind of striking power he's on. And we see the lack of stats for Nanami come into play very quickly after his big major moment against Haruta. He couldn't even really damage Dagon. Like, he damaged him, but it was so little that Dagon doesn't even reflect any damage on his arm that he just casually blocks with. Nanami used his technique, by the way. He did use his technique. So that means Dagon just... And don't get me wrong, Dagon is definitely a strange character, scaling-wise. I am planning a video on ranking the disaster curses, so I'll go more in-depth on my thoughts there. But if you go with a lot of external stuff and the fact that he was just born at the time he was fighting Nanami, it's very likely that the only disaster curse less durable than him is Jogo. Jogo, who would fall to Goodwill Yuji and Todo if he was getting hit. And Nanami, unfortunately, just doesn't really get much better than that. Remember, all of his fights, his major ones, are against random cursed spirits in JJK0, where he got his record of 4 Black Flashes, so that's unscalable. His fight against Mahito, where he legit wasn't going to win unless Yuji came in and saved him and they started jumping Mahito. Then, against Haruta, who's like able to off-guard Nobara with a technique she wasn't on guard for, and is able to press post-domain fatigue, spamming techniques. I've been through multiple battles and just had to fight my dad. Megami Fushiguro. So once again, it's even hard to argue that Nanami would even scale to Megami. And it's very likely he would just lose that fight if Megami opened Chimera. So Nanami, he's not looking too hot. And now we're going to get into the characters who I personally believe would beat Nanami. Now, I'm going to make a list because 25 is a lot. 25 is a lot of characters. But obviously, I can just drop one right there at the start. Gojo Satoru would absolutely annihilate Nanami. Like, Nanami wouldn't even be able to hit him. Like, unironically, Gojo could literally fall asleep in front of Nanami, and Nanami wouldn't be able to do anything. Nanami has nothing to get through the Infinity. No domain amplification, no math. So, Gojo could literally... and Nanami would just keep doing absolutely nothing. Another character, Shock Horse, literally every single Sukuna. Every single Sukuna would just annihilate Nanami. Like, legitimately, you can make a pretty solid argument that 0.5 finger Sukuna would absolutely blow Nanami's back out. Because there's nothing that Nanami has that suggests that he would even scale to 1 finger. At a talk of 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, or 8, or 9, or 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21? Legally, I guess, with the mummy, since that makes up for a finger, and that's like an extra finger. But regardless, yeah, I don't think I need to explain to you why Ryomen Sukuna, the one guy who's able to beat the strongest in Satoru Gojo, is also above Nanami. But considering we're covering special grade tier threats, let's cover another special grade that Nanami stands no chance against. Yuta Okotsu. Yuta, I say this unironically, Yuta would very likely watch Nanami use his technique, have Yuta just raise his arms, and casually no-sell it, by the way. Probably take absolutely negative 15 damage. Because if you think Dagon's bulky, imagine how bulky Yuta is relative to Nanami's technique. You'd be like, I see. Hey, that's a critical hit technique, right? Where you hit with a very specific area? Huh, hold on a second. I mean, this is kind of nonsense, and I don't have to do this, but let me see. Rika, come out here. I do, actually, you know what, Mr. Kent? I do have a sword of my own. You know, let's see what this does to you. And then Nanami is like annihilated. Like, bro would probably be atomized if you actually hit him with his own technique. But yeah, obviously Yuta's gonna be able to absolutely dog on that. Please get back in. And then, unfortunately, another special grade, even before they were a special grade, would likely dog on Nanami, and that is Suguru Geto. Not Kenjaku, Suguru Geto. Of course, because he's just literally a special grade by the time of JJK0. And while I typically clown on Geto for not having a confirmed domain, not having symbol domain, anything too fancy for him because he's a JJK0 character, he doesn't need that against Nanami. Nanami's kit is kind of trash. I hate to say it's trash. Trash seems too mean. Trash seems too mean, but we know he doesn't have simple domain because he doesn't use it against Dagon. The perfect time to use simple domain. Naobito whipped out his domain counter. Nanami didn't. He didn't have one. So, unfortunately, I don't think it's even needed. Geto would just drown him in curses, and Nanami would Nana go. And with that being the case, I think he stands absolutely no chance against Geto. Geto could probably just beat him with Playful Cloud. Like, legit just take him, Nanami, it's been years, my friend. Boom, 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 and then Nanami's done. Since we're talking about Suguru Geto, we might as well talk about the man, the myth, the legend that is currently running around in Suguru Geto's body, Kenjaku. Obviously, once again, I run into the idea of Nanami is beneath Mahito when he was freshly born. Kenjaku is at bare minimum Geto level, aka a special grade. So that's not needed. And he also slammed Yuki Sakuma. Like, don't get me wrong. I get it. Yuki was definitely set up in that fight by Zengen. But, like, what does Nanami do against Curse Spirit Manipulation? Oh, he's going to hit him. Is he going to hit 1,000 of them? Remember, Kenjaku stated to have like 1 million curses. I think it's 10 million in a data book statement. I think it is legit like 10 million curses. You think Nanami's got 10 million? Even if Geto were to just stand back and just, or not, Geto or Kenjaku, they would just stand back and just throw one curse out at a time. Maybe dip some in that special grade level curse energy. I don't think Nanami, I mean, he'd probably beat the smallpox deity. But, once again, I think that is actually kind of, oh, wait a second. The smallpox deity, who fought that thing? Oh, yeah. Neme. Oh, yeah. I'm going there. I know there's a weird leap going from Kenjaku to Meme, but the connection is way too clean right there. Bird Strike. Think Nanami surviving Bird Strike? Only person to ever do it was Satoru Gojo. And I know that's such a... I know people are going to be like, pencil. That's such a vague statement. Like, who has she used it on? Obviously. And no one survived it except for Satoru Gojo. Who has she actually used it on? 1 second. Let me go tell you how many people she's used it on. Yep, okay, let me pull up the statistics, make sure I'm reading this right. Oh, yeah, 100%. Absolutely nobody. We've only seen her use it against the smallpox deity. But even still, just off that statement, just on the fact that she's a peak grade 1 as well, and the fact that she doesn't ever actually have to, like, fight Nanami head on in close quarters. Just one bird strike and he's done. That may be being a little mean, but I want to throw Mei in there. I want to give her mention because it's very unlikely. I mean, unless y'all want a Mei video, but like, y'all probably not going to get a Mei video. Let me mention her here. Speaking of another character who absolutely dogs on his sensei, yeah, Yuji Itadori would rip Nanami limb from limb. Like, I hate to put it that way, but like, there's nothing. Once again, Nanami peaks out. He only gets lower after he runs into Dagon. Remember, he peaks out at start of Shibuya Yuji levels of strength. That's where he peaks. Now, I don't think I need to explain to you that Yuji has gotten numerous amps from when he was fighting against people at the start of Shibuya. Aosaka Itadori is not the same as current Itadori. Like, punching 15-finger Maguna, going 120% against Mahito, someone who we know would absolutely dog walk, and we'll talk about him in a second. Heck, do I need to, like, I don't know, him fighting Higuruma, a grade 1 sorcerer, someone equivalent to a grade 1 sorcerer, getting very similar statements, except it's actually from the narrator instead of Nobara, of, oh wow, Higuruma's a grade 1, and here you have Yuji, after Shibuya, post-Demon God healing, and he's out here contending with a grade 1 that's actively trying to execute him with no cursed energy. So what do you think Yuji with cursed energy would do to Nanami? I'll tell you what he'd do to Nanami. He would take Nanami's sword and beat him over the head with it. But obviously, you know, Yuji's nice. He'd be gentle with Nanami. So there's another character. Oh, speaking of characters that are very important to Yuji Itadori, Megumi Fushiguro. Now, don't get me wrong. maybe you can make an argument for not. No, you can't. You really can't, because what happens with Maharagas? Okay, obviously not Maharaga. Can you imagine? Nanami pulls up to Megami. Megami's like, I don't feel like doing this. With this treasure I summon! And then he immediately drops Maharaga. That wouldn't happen. But like, even though Megami is literally 5 levels into Brain Cease, and obviously feeling all types of damage, pain, new sensations with twice the eyes and twice the arms, and who knows what else. Need I say Chimera Shadow Garden? But obviously that's a situational thing, right? Like, Megami, he's not good with barriers, so he couldn't just open that on the fly. What does Nanami do against Max Elephant? What does he do if Megami just camps? What if Megami just camps in the air? Just hops, like, spawns Nue, goes up, drops Max Elephant, drops the Vine Dogs, drops the Frogs to restrain Nanami. What happens in that? Confuses him a bit with Rapid Escape. He could literally just Shikigami spam Nanami, and I think Nanami would lose. I hate to say it, but that's how it would go. Heavens forbid he actually drags Nanami to a building or any place where he could have some enclosed space, and boom, Chimera, and he gets jumped even worse. So even Megami Fushiguro, a character who also has not been relevant in a hot minute, yeah, would go with Nanami. Unfortunately, Nanami, he's just not like that. Another character that happened to fight Megami Fushiguro that I actually think would be a horrid matchup for Nanami Kento, Reggie. I know this seems so weird, like, why? Who? Because like, I think I've talked about Reggie once. I think it was in the Culling Games antagonist ranking their abilities video. And like, obviously when I was doing the reviews for that part of JJK. But like, what does Nanami do when he gets a house dropped on him? Is Nanami, like, I know he's strong, but is he strong enough to, like, catch a semi-truck coming at him? I don't know. What happens when Nanami actually lands a couple of hits and Reggie's like, oh no, all this damage on my body! I now just had a day at the spa. Oh, I feel so refreshed. And he gets a full heal in the middle of the fight. And then he drops another house on him. I don't know. I know this is gonna sound crazy. What happens if Reggie just hops in a car and hits Nanami? Is Nanami 7-3 in the dashboard? I'm not sure if he can. I think Reggie wins. I know that sounds so crazy, but once again, Reggie has direct scaling and relativity to a post-Shibuya Megami Fushiguro. Was actually able to survive in Megami's domain for a little bit, and was strong enough to uplift accurate weight Max Elephant. Maybe you can argue Nanami can do the same, but I genuinely think Reggie's versatility, range, and just sheer amount of options, and Nanami's general lack of ability to negate those options at all, because he wouldn't have something like Max Elephant that could soak all of Reggie's stuff, I think Reggie's kind of got him. Speaking of Culling Games antagonists, I could just start banging a wall like that if we're really talking about it. Yeah, Kurushi just... once again, as much as I clown on Yuta for the fun of it, I do it out of love. Trust me, Yuta fans. I do it out of love. Wait for the Yuta video. It's coming soon. Like, Kurushi's relative to base Yuta. Even if it's low-end relative. Say you want to be super ungenerous to Kurushi. Low-end relative. Forced Yuta to do something he didn't want to do. The same base Yuta who's a special grade. What does Nanami do when he gets devoured by a billion cockroaches? Also, by the way, it's not just going to be them. It's also going to be Kurushi with a life-festering blade that's going to hit Nanami once and suddenly burst his chest open with a whole bunch of bugs. After he gets blinded by the bug sacks. I don't think Nanami's got that one. I don't think his scaling anywhere near suggests he's doing anything to Kurushi. So that's some more light work. Speaking of people who fought Yuta Kotsu, Earl would just turn Nanami into point fodder. One thin icebreaker, done. I mean, legitimately, you could argue Earl could just hands him. Steal his blade, throw it away, and then just beat him up. Heavens forbid she opens the domain. We have no idea what it does, but I bet it would help. Once again, relativity to special grade Yuta Kotsu. Even if you want to argue it's super low end relativity, she's able to damage him. Nanami is not that bulky. I'm sorry. He's simply not. Surviving one of Jogo's random offhand fire attacks does not suddenly make you able to survive a thin icebreaker to the head. And unfortunately, Earl would just casually... And then Nanami's... So, Not happening, unfortunately. Big rips for a 7-3 Sorcerer. Ryu would literally vaporize him. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Nanami, but I love Ryu more. I'm a Ryu rider. So thusly, one Granite Blast to the dome and Nanami's done. Remember that big, massive one he opened with? The first one we ever saw? That would literally wipe Nanami from existence. That would be like a purple to him. Just straight gone. Sword and everything. There'd be nothing left. No ashes, no nothing to bury. Legitimately, he would do him worse than Mahito did him after he got burned by Jogo. Oh, speaking of Jogo, yeah, Jogo low diffs him too. And I know people are gonna be like, well, technically, Jogo jumped a super weakened Nanami, and thusly maybe Nanami actually stands it. No. I hate to say it, but like, you could give Nanami 4 black flashes, completely fresh, put him up against Jogo that had his head crushed in and arms chopped off by Sukuna, and he would still lose. Jogo's being compared to Naobito in terms of speed. I don't think I need to explain to you that Mr. I can barely perceive, if not perceive at all, what Naobito's doing would get speed blitz and one tap by Jogo. And once again, domain. Like, is it really necessary to mention that? I mean, yeah, there you go. Wonderful. Jogo domains Nanami for some reason. There we go. Get Jogo the win. Because, sure, you will constantly hear me clown on Jogo and believe that he's fodder. I still don't even think he's top 15 in the verse. But that doesn't mean he wouldn't absolutely dogwalk Nanami. And speaking of Nanami, let's go with something that rhymes with Nanami, Hanami, and Hanami would absolutely decimate Nanami. Now, don't get me wrong. Hanami was able to take damage from regular punches from Yuji Itadori at goodwill, and seemingly enough, just on linear power progression, Shibuya Yuji would be stronger than Goodwill Yuji, right? So maybe Nanami, who's relative to Goodwill Yuji, or should be above Goodwill Yuji, because he's relative to Shibuya Yuji, Star Shibuya Yuji, he'd be able to do damage to Hanami. The big thing is, Hanami fills the battlefield with so much nonsense that Nanami would never be able to get anything off. Never. Even if you want to argue they're relative in speed, which you may be able to make an argument that it's not even the case. Unlike Yuji and Todo, Nanami has no way to confuse Hanami, and considering this would be a Hanami post-Goodwill, they have battle experience now. They've dealt with people who just hit hard. And Hanami is supposedly one of the most durable disaster curses. Which is weird. Which is very weird. But presumably, Nanami lands one hit, Hanami blocks it, their armor chips, and like, drown in a forest. And they would just literally rip Nanami limb from limb. Hanami is the better Anami when it comes to him versus Nanami. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. I hate to say it, but my boy Nanami, he's just not doing anything against Hanami. And worst comes to worst, I hate to go back to this, but we don't even know. What is Hanami's hand sign? I have no idea, but domain expansion. Shock horror. Another shock horror of someone who beats Nanami. Oh, I wonder, maybe it's the person that actually tore him limb from limb and would have easily beaten him if he wasn't fighting 2 other people, then 3 other people, and one of those 3 other people was wielding a domain of their own in a clash against Dagon, and then Dagon ran into literally one of the strongest characters in the verse, in Toji. Yeah, Dagon rips Nanami limb from limb. Like, it's highly likely that Nanami wouldn't even get past the water shield if it wasn't for Naobito. But of course, since Dagon is super willing to open domain, he would just pop it. He's already fought Nanami. He's like, oh, when I had to split my attention 30%, 70%, you live, buckaroo. I ain't gonna make that mistake again. And then 100% of the swarm of the end would just... and Nanami's gone. Fish food, quite literally. Bo would be absolutely annihilated by Dagon. Shock horror. Oh, let's see. I've already covered Hanami. I've covered Dagon. I've covered Jogo. Oh yeah. There's another very important character who may be the basis of all of Nanami's scaling. And unfortunately, all that basis is that Nanami scales below. Yeah, I don't think I need to convince you that Mahito dogwalks Hanami and Nanami, because we literally saw the fight. We literally, like, if Yuji was not there, he would have round start lost to baby Mahito, who just learned domain. And realized the only reason Mahito used a 0.2 second domain in Shibuya was because he wanted to avoid Sukuna. Last I checked, don't get me wrong, I haven't read the early parts of JJK in a minute, so maybe I'm incorrect. But the last finger of Sugen is not in Nanami. Thusly, Mahito, probably just for the disrespect and for the fact that he didn't get to do it before, if he were to fight Nanami again, he'd be like, oh, it's you? Blah, 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 and just domain expansion and turn Nanami into a fish. It turned Nanami into a sword and started wielding him around. Or you would just touch him. Like, once again, admittedly, that was a super weak in Nanami. Nanami was the first person to show that curse energy kind of auto-protects the soul, but Mahito would beat him down. Dramatically. I don't really think I need to go too far in that. I could bring up Toto. Do I say Toto beats Nanami? That may be a versus battle in of itself. They're both grade 1s. I mean, does Nanami hit Toto? I mean, Toto, 120%, may just dog walk Nanami. But at the same time, I don't know. Do I give Toto his own video and explain why he's probably not even top 30? Okay, that's kind of crazy. I don't think I can think of 30 characters. But still, I mean, do I give it to Toto? I kind of gave it to Mei. Let's give it to Toto. Like, I know this is one of the weaker explanations, but Toto's able to go relative to a stronger Mahito than Nanami was able to go relative against. Toto is not exactly relative, but low end relative to 120% Mahito, 120% Yuji. So, presumably, you give Toto that other hand back, he starts clapping, he starts breaking it down, and he boogie-woogie Nanami's into non-existent. He could probably just switch places with Nanami's weapon and then punch Nanami in the mouth. And then switch places with Nanami who's staggered and punch him again. And then switch places and just stack the switching places over and over and over and over again and just beat Nanami down. It would be a war of attrition, probably be one of the longest and most intense fights in the entire series. But once again, due to the lack of versatility and the extremely simple nature of Nanami's I hit you really hard technique, I don't see him breaking past Toto. So that's unfortunately another person who kind of turns Nanami into a victim. Speaking of people who turn Nanami into victims, I know we've been doing that for the past while now, but another character who absolutely violates, rips Nanami apart, like quite literally limb from limb if you go off of what she did to Kenjaku. Yuki Tsukumo. I kind of went for a while without mentioning the 4th special grade, but we're here now, and direct is it really, she's a whole grade above him. That should be it. But relativity to Kenjaku, Big Daddy Jaku, and what was that list? It was like Kenjaku kisser. Am I a Kenjaku kisser? I'm not Jinny Todori, so unfortunately I cannot say I'm a Kenjaku kisser. But relatively to Kenjaku, Kenjaku's a special grade as well, if not above a special grade, considering he's better than Geto, who was a special grade, and Yuki Tsukumo goes relative to that. And this special grade was special grade level defenses. After one hit from Yuki that Yuki managed to land, boop, his arms were off. And unfortunately, unless you have a secret surprise or a data book scan that I do not know about, Nanami does not have RCT. He simply does not. That is not within his arsenal. Unfortunately, I'm just familiar enough with Nanami's game to know that that's not in his kit. And thusly, one hit from Yuki, one hit from Garuda, one sneeze from Yuki, honestly, the snot particles that would fly out of her nose would probably tear straight through Nanami, turn him into patchwork. So unfortunately, Yuki, no one wants that man too. I mean, I could include Rika as a separate entry, but that would be petty. I'm feeling petty. Let's throw Rika in there too. Rika... I mean, once again, it's a non-statement, really. In the battle of Rika plus Geto versus Gojo, I'm taking Gojo. But Rika was able to go relative with special grades to Guru Geto. Nanami is a grade 1. Rika is able to damage Ryu, someone who is able to damage Yuta, something that Nanami literally could not do. One punch from fully manifested, and honestly, considering unmanifested Rika, was able to just hard restrain a demon god, not fully healed, but a demon god, Yuji Itadori, post 120%, post Shibuya. It's very likely that unmanifested Rika would actually take Nanami for a long walk down the beach. Speaking of another character who takes Nanami a long walk down the beach. Yeah, obviously I get it, Maharaga is part of a kit, but like, I'm just gonna. I feel bad because I do like Nanami, but I'm just gonna throw Maharaga on there too. Who you got? A literal spirit bomb versus a coughing baby. I don't. That's basically the matchup. Maharaga, fresh out the box, is able to tag 15-finger Yuji body Sukuna. If that one hit hits Nanami, I think you could literally hear every bone in his body shatter. Then he loses his head. Yeah, I do. Once again, do I really need to convince you Maharaga versus Nanami? I don't know. I feel like some people are gonna be like, "Well, out the box, Maharaga sucks. He can't even take a purple, he can't even take a base red. Base red. Who's another character that faced a base red? Oh, I'm having a Jimmy Neutron moment. My brain, it's black. Oh, Toji Fushiguro. Is it rocket science? Is it really rock? I mean, obviously Toji would rip Nanami apart. Especially, you could definitely argue, Toji doesn't need inverted spear. Not needed. Soul Split Katana, not needed. Legitimately, I could probably just hand Toji this. And I'm not talking about the sword. I'm talking about the sword's sheath. I could hand Toji this, and he would probably beat the life out of me. Easy. Just some light work. He would do it with his bare hands, though. Toji wouldn't need it. Toji would absolutely annihilate him. Huh. Toji. Who's another character that's stated equal to Toji in every means and facet, and may have face tanked a lightning blast from a Nue from 15-finger Sukuna? Oh yeah, Maki. Same thing, but just absolutely beat him down. It would literally be embarrassing. I hate to say it, but it would actually probably be embarrassing to witness. Just straight absolute massacre. But wait a minute. Maki, who did Maki fight? And had a whole long discussion about who was truly on the level of Toji and Gojo. Brain blast! Oh yeah. Naoya? Not Cursed Spirit, by the way. I'm not mentioning Cursed Spirit. Regular Naoya would likely dogwalk Nanami. Even just assuming he's at all relative to his father, he would speed blitz Nanami to oblivion. And considering just with a regular Degular, I mean, maybe you can argue Naoya imbued it with cursed energy, but that would probably just make it worse. But something like this, admittedly probably smaller, it was a little pocket poker, but with something like this, he was able to damage Choso. Choso, who is a monster and a beast of his own right, and someone else who may or may not dogwalk Nanami, we'll get to him in a second. Yeah, he just did that. Now imagine, instead of just doing that once, Naoya does it 100 times in Nanami's eyeballs. I don't think Nanami's hitting him, and I think Naoya's hitting him a bunch. So there's that. Oh, wait a second. Naoya, he has projections. So, his dad. Naobito would dogwalk him too. Unfortunately, I kind of run into the duplicate Zenin problem, where if there's a Toji, there's a Maki. If there's a Naoya, there's a Naobito. And Naobito would just absolutely dogwalk him. Once again, we literally see that Naobito, no stacking, just base regular speed, is able to easily perception blitz Nanami to the point where Nanami just doesn't understand what's going on. On fort. If you can't perceive your opponent, it's very unlikely you're going to be able to hit them, and they can likely hit you a whole bunch. So Naobito would just keep abusing the frame thing, keep punching Nanami until Nanami goes down. Probably wouldn't take too long, though, I'll be completely honest with you. But, Naobito's a Zenin. Zenin gets me back to Maki. Who helped Maki awaken the second time to their full potential? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not about to argue Mio, because Mio's... Actually, you could make a pretty solid argument for Mio, but I'm not going to argue Mio. Once again, you're going to find out we may hit more than 25 characters soon enough. How many have we hit so far? Because there's still a couple more I haven't named yet. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 2 more, and we can kick Nanami out the top 25. That's crazy. No, that's so crazy. But yeah, Dido, the same Dido who's just holding a sword, holding a katana, is able to emit so much raw lethality that he has Cursed Naoya shaking in his boots and is able to tag Cursed Naoya. You know, someone who's faster than human Naoya. I think Dido may low-key sold his Zenin clan, not to talk about Nanami. Come on now. I'll just give him a blade and he's going insane. He would probably rip the sword out of Nanami's hands, be like, oh, this thing's blunted, I don't like it, but fine, whatever. And he'd swing the blade once and then Nanami's in half. Unironically. Nothing Nanami can really do about that. You know what? I'm going to give it to Mio. I know it seems weird to give it to Mio, but let me give it to Mio real quick. He kind of like outdoes post-Zenin clan Maki. And that's crazy, because post-Zenin clan Maki is able to deal with Naoya in human form when she was extremely damaged still, like missing an eye. So the fact that Mio is able to casually slip behind her and flip her and force Maki into a scenario where she had to genuinely learn from him, I'm going to give it to Mio too. Let's just smack him on there. Let's put Mio up there. Who's another character? Do I have to say it? I have to give that thing credit. What scaling does that thing have? It has scaling to Mechamaru. Does Nanami survive an internal vibration clap? Does he? Does he survive whatever what does the sister do? What does the sister? Can Nanami actually put... Oh... You know, this hurts me in my heart of hearts. But I think... It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. I love you, Nanami. I'm sorry I have to do this. I have to put you beneath this film. It's disgusting. Yeah, I think Panda actually beats Nanami. And trust me, that hurts me to say so much. I really don't want to say that. But once again, Nanami's scaling is just so crap. But then again, Panda's scaling. How strong is Mechamaru? Does Nanami beat Mechamaru? Regular Mechamaru, not Ultimate Mechamaru. Obviously, you know what? Consider this my one bit of kindness. This is my one good deed of the year. Giving Panda any credit at all. So all you Panda fans out there, all you believers in that filthy beast, be happy. Because this is maybe the only time that I'm going to give that thing credit. Speaking of that thing, and the person that fought, yeah, Mechamaru also probably slams Nanami. Or I suppose it would be Kokichi Muda, but like, what's he going to do against Ultimate Mechamaru? Ultimate Mechamaru blasts him once, vaporized. Ooh. Shock horror. Absolutely worthless. I do think Nanami beats Smallpox Deity. Somehow. Does he? Does Nanami beat Smallpox Deity? He doesn't have a domain counter, but he could probably break. But Mei needed Ui. Like, needed Ui to fake it. You know what? Maiden is being mean to Nanami at this point, but I'm gonna put Smallpox Deity up there. We gonna put him up there too. Because, I mean, we might as well, right? Like, once again, Nanami's scaling is just so bad, dog. He's above, like, far. Like, he doesn't lose to Inumaki because he knows what cursed speech is and he guards his ears. There you go. I haven't mentioned Choso yet. Choso piercing bloods Nanami once. Nanami, whether it be to the poison or literally just getting straight to the head. Or the body. Simple as that. Once again, Choso has too much versatility for Nanami, especially current Choso. Whoosh! Nanami. So there goes another one. Speaking of another BM user, I'm not talking about baby mamas, I'm talking about blood manipulation. Unironically, with like somewhat relativity to Cursed Naoya, even if it was a casual Cursed Naoya should be faster than casual human Naobito and casual human Naoya. And casual human Naoya is able to kind of toy around with Choso and post-Shibuya Demon God Yuji at the same time. So, I don't know what Nanami does if he gets wrapped up in some blood. Or gets some pierced straight through his dome piece or anything like that. I think, unironically, Noritoshi Kamo just absolutely washes Hanami too. I just think bro kind of loses. And I know he's on... Is he on Fraud Watch or is he just a fraud? He's on Fraud Watch. I don't think he's a fraud. I think he's a victim. But yeah, Hajime Kashimo obviously washes, just absolutely just annihilates Hanami and Nanami. So, relative to Hikari Kenji, even if you don't like the statement that Yuta makes, we literally see base Hikari Kenji go relative to, if not simply style on, fully healed Demon God Yuji. Fully healed Demon God Yuji is well above the start of Shibuya Yuji that Nanami is compared to when at perfect health. So, what do you think happens when Kashimo runs up on Nanami? I'll tell you what happens. Nanami gets panded, which I wouldn't like, because I like how Panda got panded, but I do not want Nanami to get panded, because there'd be a little bit of Nanami here, a little bit of Nanami there, a little bit of Nanami up there, a little bit of Nanami down there, Nanami everywhere. And not in the way that Nanami fans want him everywhere. I know what you Nanami fans want. Speaking of the person that Kashimo fought primarily, not Sukuna, but let's talk about Hikari. Once again, same thing I mentioned for Kashimo scaling. Just relativity to Demon God Yuji in base. What was that? Not too much. That Yuji is simply stronger than Nanami. Hikari punches him a bunch. Heavens forbid he opens domain, gets jackpot, and then extra punches him a bunch. Nanami loses that fight. No RCT, no nothing. He gets it done in. Another character. I'm kind of just going for it at this point. We are well over 25. Right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. And even if you take out like the 5 questionable picks I've made, he's still not top 25. It's not looking good for Nanami. It just really ain't. He may just... Can I say that? Can I say he may just lose the helicopter man? I don't even remember the helicopter guy's name. I'll be completely real with you. I don't remember his name. I really don't. But Loki, can Nanami fly? Is Nanami swinging the 7-3 sword at that right ratio? I don't know. Post Shibuya fully healed Demon God Yuji should be well above his 120% self, which would be well above start of Shibuya Yuji. And Helicopter Man's able to press that Yuji just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, Helicopter Man, whatever his name is, will probably take him out. Heck, even Awasaka, the inverse guy, he would probably win, unironically. And the reason I say that is because I'm just going to put Helicopter Man on the list, because I don't actually remember his name. Helicopter Man. And then Awasaka, because remember, the only reason that Megami was able to figure out the technique is because he actually has variances. Even if Nanami did figure out the technique, it'd be a lot harder for him to exploit it as well as a duo would, like Megami and Itadori. And I could see Awasaka wearing him down before that ends up coming to pass, if Nanami figures it out. If. And that may not even happen. It's not looking all too good for Brody. What other characters are left? There's still more. I know there are still more that I'm forgetting. He could beat Angel. Could he? Could he? Hana has never showed hands, though. Hana has never showed hands. And, I wouldn't say Nanami's an evil spirit, so Jacob's Ladder would be pretty much ineffective. I mean, Angel could just stall him out. Just float in the sky. I'm gonna give it to Angel too. I'm sorry. I'm just hitting so many different characters. Hana would probably just win. If Angel's cursed energy amounts are high enough, maybe their reinforcements are good enough that they could just face tank Hanami. Simple as that. Another character I've yet to mention, Yorozu. Perfect spear, if that's even needed. Yorozu would probably just punch him. Hanami falls. It's not too complicated. Honestly, I think there are more. I could probably keep going for about another 15 minutes, naming more and more characters. If I were to pull up the wiki right now, I could probably pull up more characters who would dog walk Nanami. So the question is, was Nanami top 25? Let's tally it up. Gojo, 1. Sukuna, 2. Yuta, 3. Kento, 4. Kajaku, 5. Mei, 6. Itadori, 7. Megami, 8. Reggie, 9. Kurushi, 10. Earl, 11. Ryu, 12. Jogo, 13. Dagon, 14. Mahito, 15. Todo, 16. Yuki, 17. Rika, 18. Maharaga, 19. Toji 20, Maki 21, Nabito 22, Naoya 23, Daido 24. Sorry for the pause. Rio 25. That filth waste of space. Panda 26, Mekamaru 27, Smallpox Deity 28, Shoso 29, Noritoshi Kamo 30, Kashimo 31, Okari 32, Awasaka 33, Helicopter Man 34, Angel 35, Yorozu 36. And I'm confident I'm still missing characters. You could probably throw some more in there that I've just forgotten. Nanami's not top 25. He's not even top 30. And I don't think he's anywhere close either. Nanami, unfortunately, is a very big victim of very early series scaling and missing out a whole lot on near end game or even mid game story power creep. It just happens. His scaling is so low and so inferior that unfortunately bro has simply been left behind. His lack of tools, his lack of technique complexity, his lack of technique viability, and his lack of stats all combine to make a character who is unfortunately left in the dust. But he was a mentor. This was his role. And ultimately, he was destined to fall. However, if you have any contentions with any of the characters I mentioned in this video, please feel free to drop them down below. See if there's any way you can argue to get Nanami in the top 25. Heck, if you can get him in the top 30, I'll give you credit. Do that down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this long video, leave what? Leave 7-3 ratioed. Nah, actually leave 37 ratioed in the comment section down below. 3-7 ratioed. Because, I don't know, he may not even be top 37 in the series. So 3-7 ratioed. It can be one word, it can be a sentence, it can be a phrase, you can work it in. Y'all guys get so creative with the passwords. So I want to thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. You can for as little as $1, count them $1 a month. Get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member of the channel for as little as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include will be the reaction to the next chapter of JJK when that drops next week. Now, I want to thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Wakanda Plays, Red Wolf 4765, and Burp Skills. I'd like to give another very big thank you to our $5 patrons, Sean, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, and Demex LND. And I'd like to give a fat, hefty thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, and Idemokami. And I'd like to give another hefty, thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. And another big fat scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our $25 patrons, Igneal and Calvin Elder.